think one of my favorite stories was back when we were still on First Avenue, and we were just starting to be known by the people. And there was one guy that came into the building, and we hadn't really started church yet, but as he walked in, something impacted his heart, and he started to walk down towards me, and he's crying. And he's like, "What's happening to me?" And he's wiping these tears out of his eyes. He didn't even know that it was the love that God had for him that was impacting his heart to such a degree that he started to weep openly. Yeah, that was a favorite moment. One guy, he came in, he said, "Every time you walk in the building, all my friends leave." And I'm like, I'm looking at a full building, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "My other friends." And so he was saying it when I walked into the building, not just me, like anybody that carries that light, walked into the building and the demons started to flee. And I started to be able to have a conversation with him about it. You actually don't need those friends anymore. It was cool. I've always felt so blessed that I can do what I do for him, that I don't have to wonder, I don't have to worry, I don't ever think about what's going to happen when I get to heaven. I just know that I'm doing what God's called me to do, and he gives me the grace every day to do it. People can help by understanding that we walk in love, we walk in all that grace, and it's free, but the ability to be able to carry that light is not always free. That we have to have a building, we have to have a place to land, we have to have all these safe places where people can start to recover their lives, and that we believe that everybody's entitled to 3 squares and a roof over their head and someone to tell them that they're going to make it. And so that process can be expensive. So number 1, help us financially. Number 2, pray for us, because we are at that place where the dark and the light conflict, right? And so we need your prayers. It's quite a warfare where we're working. And the third thing that you could do is please understand that homelessness and addiction is often not a choice. It's happened because of choices, sometimes somebody else's choice, but often they end up there because of really hard times and trauma. They didn't have the choice of being traumatized, they were traumatized. And so to have some understanding for the people who are addicted and they're kind of lost in our city, please understand and pray for them. My name is Julie Kissick, and I am co-founder of Streets Alive Mission with my husband, Ken. And we are so glad that you are here so that you can help us to be lights in the darkness. As I stop and I reflect on Streets Alive over the last 20, 25, 30 years, there are some things that have changed. At one time, we actually operated the shelter drop-in. We operated the original shelter drop-in. And also we used to do daily cleanup on the streets as a contract, and that has all changed. We only owned one building back in the day, that would be Parkside Home, but now we own several buildings, including Galt Manor. We own the Exodus building, which houses the Repurpose Center. We also own Segway Home, and our most recent purchase that we're super excited about is the El Dorado building. Our goal this year is to purchase and renovate the 8-plex, which houses 16 of our men. This means for us, no more lease payments. And once we move out of the downtown into the El Dorado, we will be lease free. Back in the day with Parkside Home, we were doing some housing, but now we have 50 recovery beds, and we have been successfully focusing on these beds for the men and women who want to recover from drugs and alcohol. We now have alumni from our recovery program who have successfully completed it, and they are now on the streets themselves, plucking people off the street and into recovery program because they know the people, they know their behaviors, and they know that the recovery programming works, and every one of them is an absolute miracle. We have had our battles, and just recently we had 2 stop orders, one from the province and one inside the municipality, which we successfully overcame. It has been quite a year. And you may ask, why do you keep fighting? Well, love and light. There's this famous quote from Martin Luther King Jr., and he said that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only love can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And there is no question that it is getting darker and darker and more loveless in our world. So 2 things that have never changed for Streets Alive is that we love the people we serve and we carry the light. And we must persist in love, because it's the only force that overcomes all of the hate that we see. And we have to love even the haters, because we want to drive out hate wherever we can find it. Light is a thing that cannot be reproduced. It has to be represented. And we have to carry the light of God, because we represent His light into every dark corner of the turf that we walk in, because we are called to carry the light on this turf. And we have to carry the light so that we can show them hope and we can show them love. There's this old Sunday school song that we used to sing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And that's why we do what we do. And that's how we fight this good fight, by focusing on love and light. God bless you all.